Face coverings for COVID, mandatory. Face coverings for religion,
illegal.
Viva Frei, Montreal litigator turned YouTuber, and this is a freshly washed Winnie the Westie. And when you have stupid laws, every now and again,
you have stupid outcomes.
Quebec has been back in the international headlines because a teacher got fired at a school here, allegedly because she was wearing a hijab in violation of a recently passed Bill C-21, which is called the laicity law, which prohibits government workers from wearing overt signs of religion when on the job. From NPR, Canadian teacher reassigned under a controversial Quebec law for wearing a hijab. December 11, 2021, a teacher who wears a hijab was removed from the classroom under Quebec's Bill 21, which prohibits teachers wearing religious symbols in class. We will get further into the details of that story when I walk through the article on the subject, but I just want to open a slight parenthesis here to say that there are not all that many facts known right now, and it's entirely possible, it's entirely conceivable there's a little more to the story than the headlines. We'll get there. But first, I just want to highlight the absurdity at face value of this story. A teacher is being removed from class for wearing a hijab, whereas face coverings for COVID are mandatory. Enact stupid laws, get stupid outcomes. We quite literally have face coverings being outlawed for one reason while mandated for another. Not just mandated for adults either, by the way, mandated for children. From CTV News, Montreal, masks will be mandatory as of grade 1 in 9 Quebec regions as COVID-19 numbers climb. Now, I know what some of you out there are saying, religion is different than a pandemic, so under certain circumstances you can require certain types of face coverings while literally outlawing other types of face coverings. I understand the rationale, but when we are living in a world where quite literally certain face coverings are mandated by law and others are prohibited by law, I think we have a problem with the law itself.
Welcome back, Captain Obvious.
Yes, I am!
And with that said, let's get a little further into the story so people out there can understand the details. Quebec teachers' removal for wearing hijab, a quote cowardly end quote move, minister says, by Rachel Gilmore, Global News. Multiple politicians are speaking out to condemn the reassignment of an elementary school teacher in Western Quebec who was forced to leave her job after being told her hijab violates the province's law that forbids teachers from wearing religious symbols. The law, known as Bill 21, was passed in June 2019 and bans the wearing of religious symbols such as hijabs, kippas, and turbans by teachers and other government employees deemed to be in positions of authority. Getting back to the parentheses I opened a little earlier in this vlog, saying that there might be a little more to the story than the article itself. Apparently, it was only after the teacher was reassigned that she purported it was due to the hijab. It's possible there's a little more going on behind the scenes here, but let's take it at face value. She was removed for wearing a hijab under Quebec's Bill 21. All right, this is my mother, people. I just got a call from my mother. I asked her for permission. Mom, explain the situation for the world, please.
Okay, we get to the airport. Dad puts his test in, which were negative for COVID, a PCR test. However, he took the test on Tuesday at 1:08 p.m., and our flight leaves here at 1:20 p.m. So he was over the 72-hour
by 18 minutes.
It was less than that.
12. I'm sorry, it's 12 minutes. My math is not good.
It was 11, they said 11 minutes.
So he has to get a new test at the airport?
Yes, so we just went to a test center here. We had to walk over to a test center, pay $159. Now we're sitting and waiting 30 minutes. We did the rapid test. We have to wait 30 minutes for the results before we can check in and get to our airplane.
Okay, well now I'm going to stop recording because the world has seen what is going on in Canada, and to get back into Canada, I'm going to stop recording and get back to the vlog in a second and finish my conversation with me mom. Sorry for the interruption, but what a timely interruption it was when we're on the subject of absurd laws producing absurd consequences. Back when this law was passed, I did a vlog on it back in the early days of the vlog when everything was cringe, and I explained why I thought this law was somewhat counterproductive and totally counterintuitive. And not to get too Orwellian, but this is one step closer to government-mandated dietary habits. I mean, after all, if you see a public sector employee in a position of authority eating kosher at lunch, you can then reasonably deduce that they're going to play favoritism when they're sitting on the bench.
No?
Uniforms, diets, government-issued names. Let's remove any aspect of individual identity from the public sphere in the name of secularism. That's not how it works. It's just going to force anybody who is inclined to play that sort of favoritism to get more subtle in the manners in which they let each other know that they're on the same team. Bill C-21, the laicity law, the separation of church and state, it was sort of passed to solidify the notion that the state was separate from the church so that you couldn't have people working for the state donning overtly religious garb. At the time, I said that separating religion from the state is far different than separating religion from the employees who work for the state. The state is not religious because it has religious people working for it. I also said that if the concern is prejudice or prejudgments or differential treatment based on religion because people are wearing overtly religious garbs, Where does it end? I don't need to see a religious garb on someone to know what religion they are. This is not a stereotype, it's just a logical observation. If I see an individual named Chaim working for the state, I don't need to see a kippah on him in order to have a rough idea as to his religion. And if my concern is preferential or prejudicial treatment because of the religion of that individual, the fact that Chaim is or is not wearing a kippah is not going to quell anything. And then the restriction is literally going to go from religious garb to religious names, and then where does it stop? It is not rocket science to know that if you are a member of any religious community, you don't need to see overt symbols of that religion to know which members are a part of that community. So if you think you're going to solve a problem by telling certain people they cannot wear their religious garb in public while working for the government, you're actually not solving any problem, you're just opening the door to more and more restrictions. With that said, let's get back to the situation at hand, because other politicians chime in and they say things that are hypocritical, to say the least, given their own conduct. NDP leader Jagmeet Singh, who has previously shared stories of hatred he faced for wearing a turban, also slammed the school board's decision. Quote, "There are no concerns about her capacity and ability to teach, no concerns about whether she's providing good education to kids. Simply because of the way she looked and the way she dressed, she is no longer able to teach those kids," end quote, he said. So first off, I'm not sure that we actually know enough to say what Jagmeet Singh is saying here, and for those of you who don't know who Jagmeet Singh is, he is the leader of the New Democratic Party, the NDP, one of Canada's federal parties. But I don't think we have enough information to make the affirmations that Jagmeet Singh is making here, but wait till you hear what Jagmeet Singh himself has said
when it comes to judging other people.
It's a little long, it's about a minute, but I'm going to play you the whole highlight because it is truly, truly jaw-dropping.
Yes, I do think that there is an connection with people who aren't wearing a mask or who aren't following public health guidance and the extreme right, and the idea that folks in the extreme right don't care about people around them, aren't concerned about the safety and well-being of people generally, their neighbors. And an extreme right, that kind of ideology is connected with not really caring about the people around you. It's a selfishness where personal interest takes over from a community protection and interest. And we're seeing, that is a trend with the extreme right, not caring about people around you, not wanting to invest in social programs, not wanting to invest in things that support all of us as a community. And the idea of not following public health guidelines and not wanting to do their part to stop the spread of an infection is very much in line with this extreme right-wing ideology of not caring about people, not supporting the people around you. And it is dangerous and it's hurtful.
Jagmeet Singh going on and on and on about people who oppose face mask mandates being selfish, right-wing extremists who are not interested in community, only care about themselves. What happens a few days after he says these idiotic statements? He gets caught for not wearing a face mask as required. NDP leader Jagmeet Singh apologizes after video shows him breaking COVID-19 rules. All right, that might have been a little bit of an off-topic detour, but I am taking the scenic route to remind everyone out there what an outright divisive hypocrite Jagmeet Singh is. Parents from the Chelsea Elementary School said they found out the teacher was being removed last week when they received a letter about it. Some later learned it was due to her hijab, and the teacher herself ultimately confirmed that fact in an interview, according to the Canadian press. And this was the paragraph of the story that caused me to back up and say to myself, whoa, there might be a little bit more to this story, because when the teacher herself is the one who comes out and confirms that this is the reason why she was reassigned, self-serving confirmations are just that, self-serving. But whether or not this story turns out to be bunk, nothing's going to change the way I feel and felt about this law. In a statement sent to the Canadian press, the Western Quebec School Board, which has previously come out firmly against Bill 21, declined to comment specifically due to confidentiality surrounding human resources issues. Director General Mike Dubois did say, however, that the board's stance on Bill 21 has not changed, but he said it is subject to provincial laws that regulate employment in the public sector. So setting aside the specific details of this particular case, because it's not impossible that in the near future we find out that the reassignment of this particular teacher actually had nothing to do with the hijab, I've been getting emails left and right as to what I feel about Bill 21. It violates our charter rights, people are telling me. Well, I say to them, too bad, too late, you made your bed.
You're gonna sleep in it.
Actually, I don't at all say that to them because I'm too polite, but gosh darn it, I am thinking it. We have spent close to the last 2 years living under a tyrannical government that has systematically violated pretty much each and every one of our most basic fundamental charter rights, and it's only now that people are complaining. The government locked us down, shut us down, deprived us of having people in our own homes, deprived us of interprovincial travel, forced us and our kids to wear face masks, put us under curfew, all all of that was okay, but the second they start infringing on other rights, whoa.
Then people have had enough.
I've said it before and I'll say it again, but do not be surprised when a government that does not respect all of your rights fails to respect any of your rights. And just a little sample of which of our fundamental rights has been systematically violated over the last year and a half. Fundamental freedoms. Everyone has the following fundamental freedoms. A. Freedom of conscience and religion. Violated when they prevented people from going to church and literally locked up pastors. Freedom of thought, belief, opinion, and expression, including freedom of the press and other media of communication. Violated when they prevented people from boycotting outside of hospitals. Freedom of peaceful assembly. Violated when the Nova Scotia government issued an injunction preventing people from protesting. Mobility rights. Mobility of citizens. Every citizen of Canada has the right to enter, remain in, and leave Canada. Violated when they locked people in quarantine hotels and prevented interprovincial travel. And now, after nearly 2 years of having fed this proverbial beast, literally the plant from Little Shop of Horrors, after having created the monster, now some Anglophones are complaining that they're violating our linguistic rights in the province. Now some people are saying, oh, but I want to wear a hijab in class. You empowered this government to become this way.
You cannot complain about it now.
Let me take that back and attenuate it a little bit. You can complain about it now, but you had better complain in a manner that is consistent with all rights and freedoms, not just the ones you want at this particular point in time. You want to defend that teacher's right to wear the hijab? Go ahead and do it. I've been doing it since 2019, but then when they lock us in our homes for curfew,
Don't dare defend that violation of rights.
all right, and I have quite literally worked myself into a sweat, so it's a good thing I have my beautiful, freshly cleaned dog to lower my blood temperature. It's not just that he's soothing. Right now he smells like wonderful shampoo. Oops. All right, and with that said, if you like my videos, you like my content, please be sure to like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, drop a comment in the comment section below because it feeds the algorithm, yada, yada, yada.
But you yada over the best part.
If you want to support the channel, support links are in the pinned comment. We've got some great merch. Robert Barnes and I do weekly live streams every Sunday. We do weekly streams with a guest every Wednesday called The Sidebar. We are also on Locals, where you can find us and support us at
VivaBarnesLaw.locals.com.
all of my content is also on Rumble, so you can catch it there. But more important than anything, take care of yourselves, check in on friends and family, defend all of your rights, or no one is going to respect any of your rights. And with that said, now you know your vlog. Peace out.